There's a mixture you can make for less than $2 using 3 ingredients from under your kitchen sink and your laundry room. You spray it onto a wall covered in old paint, you wait 5 minutes, and then you peel the paint off in large continuous sheets with your bare hands. No sanding, no scraping, no chemical stripper fumes burning your lungs, no renting a power sander, no 3-day project. The paint releases from the wall as though it was never bonded in the first place. Entire rooms stripped in under an hour. $2 of household liquids in a spray bottle. This chemistry has been understood by professional painters and wallpaper hangers for generations. Every experienced contractor who has ever prepped a room for repainting knows some variation of this method. They have used it on job sites for decades to remove stubborn wallpaper, old latex coatings, and failed paint layers without damaging the substrate beneath. The mixture is simple. The chemistry is well documented. And it has never been marketed to consumers. Because consumers who can strip their own walls in 30 minutes do not hire painters for a 3-day prep job at $2,000. Then, someone in a corporate boardroom did the math. The paint and coatings industry generates over $65 billion annually in North America. Professional painting services add another $50 billion. Chemical paint stripper products represent a multi-billion-dollar category. A $2 spray bottle of household ingredients that eliminates the need for chemical strippers, power sanders, and professional labor is not a product innovation. It is a threat to multiple revenue streams simultaneously. And what threatens revenue across an entire supply chain does not get promoted. It gets omitted. Welcome to Forbidden Fix. If these stories matter to you, hit subscribe and the bell. This is where we dig up what industries spent decades trying to erase. The 3 ingredients are isopropyl alcohol, very hot water, and liquid fabric softener. And the reason this combination works on latex paint and wallpaper is not magic. It is polymer chemistry and surfactant science, operating on the specific adhesion mechanism that holds these materials to your wall. Latex paint is not actually made from latex rubber. Modern latex paint is an acrylic or vinyl acrylic polymer emulsion. During manufacturing, microscopic acrylic polymer particles are suspended in water along with pigments, fillers, and surfactants. When you apply the paint to a wall, the water evaporates. As it does, the polymer particles pack together and fuse into a continuous film. This process is called coalescence. The resulting film adheres to the wall through a combination of mechanical interlocking with the surface texture and weak chemical adhesion between the polymer and the substrate. Critically, the adhesion mechanism of latex paint is water-based. The polymer film was formed through water evaporation, and it can be disrupted by reintroducing the right combination of solvents and surfactants that repenetrate and resoften the polymer matrix. Isopropyl alcohol is a mild organic solvent. It penetrates acrylic polymer films and disrupts the intermolecular bonds between polymer chains without damaging the underlying drywall or plaster. The alcohol softens the paint film from within, reducing its cohesive strength and its adhesion to the substrate. Hot water amplifies this effect by increasing the rate of molecular penetration and by thermally softening the polymer. Acrylic polymers have a glass transition temperature, the temperature at which they shift from rigid to flexible, typically between 60 and 150 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on formulation. Hot water raises the paint film temperature toward or past this transition point, making it pliable and easier to release. Fabric softener is the secret weapon. Liquid fabric softener is a cationic surfactant, typically a quaternary ammonium compound. Surfactants reduce surface tension. When sprayed onto a paint surface, the fabric softener molecules penetrate the interface between the paint film and the wall. They reduce the adhesive bond at the molecular level by inserting themselves between the polymer and the substrate, literally lubricating the separation. This is the same mechanism that makes fabric softener work in your laundry. It coats fibers with a surfactant layer that reduces friction and bonding between them. Applied to paint, it coats the interface between the paint film and the wall, allowing the film to release as a continuous sheet instead of fragmenting into tiny scraps. The combination of solvent penetration from the alcohol, thermal softening from the hot water, and adhesion disruption from the surfactant creates a 3-mechanism attack on the paint bond that overwhelms the adhesion chemistry far more effectively than any single chemical stripper. And it does it without the methylene chloride, N-methylpyrrolidone, or caustic sodium hydroxide that commercial paint strippers rely on, all of which produce toxic fumes, require full respiratory protection, and can damage drywall paper facing if left too long. Before I go further, this video covers the wall stripping method. Inside the Forbidden Fix vault, I've compiled complete paint removal guides for every surface type, including wood trim, metal, concrete, and brick. Each surface requires different ratios, different contact times, and different techniques. The vault also contains advanced wallpaper removal protocols, lead paint safety procedures, and the exact mixtures that professional paint prep crews use to strip entire commercial buildings in a fraction of the time consumers spend sanding a single room. The link is in the description. But stay right here because the industry economics are where the story gets personal. Professional painting contractors have known about surfactant-based paint softening for decades. The wallpaper industry has sold commercial wallpaper removal solutions since the 1970s. Check the ingredient list on any wallpaper removal concentrate at the hardware store. The primary active ingredients are surfactants and water-soluble solvents, the exact same chemistry as fabric softener and alcohol. The commercial product costs $12 to $20 per gallon. The homemade version costs less than $2 per gallon. The chemistry is identical, whereas the packaging is different. The markup is approximately 800%. The paint stripping industry profits from complexity. Commercial chemical strippers range from $15 to $40 per quart. Professional sanding and prep services charge between $1 and $3 per square foot for a typical 2,000 square foot home interior. Professional paint prep runs between $2,000 and $6,000 before a single coat of new paint is applied. The consumer alternative, sold at hardware stores, is a choice between toxic chemical strippers that require ventilation equipment and protective gear, or electric sanders that produce lead-contaminated dust in pre-1978 homes and take days of exhausting labor. At no point in the standard consumer paint removal journey does anyone suggest that $2 of isopropyl alcohol, hot water, and fabric softener would accomplish the same result in a fraction of the time with zero toxic exposure. The omission is not an oversight. It is a pricing strategy. If you have made it this far, you understand more about polymer adhesion chemistry and surfactant science than 99% of homeowners renting orbital sanders for a weekend paint prep job. Subscribe and share. One share might save someone $2,000 in professional prep labor. Here is exactly how to do it. Step 1. Mix the solution in a standard spray bottle. Use approximately 1 part isopropyl alcohol at 70% concentration, 2 parts very hot water as hot as your tap delivers, and a generous splash of liquid fabric softener, approximately 2 to 3 tablespoons per spray bottle. Shake it gently to combine. Step 2. Spray the mixture generously onto the painted wall surface. Saturate it. The surface should be visibly wet. Step 3. Wait 5 to 10 minutes. You will see the paint begin to bubble, wrinkle, and separate from the wall as the solvents and surfactants penetrate the adhesion interface. Step 4. Starting at a bubbled edge, peel the paint away from the wall. On well-bonded single layers, use a wide putty knife or drywall knife to lift the leading edge. On multiple thick layers, the paint will often peel in large, satisfying sheets. Step 5. For stubborn areas, respray and wait another 5 minutes. A second application usually releases any remaining adhesion. Step 6. Once the paint is removed, wipe the wall with a damp cloth to remove residual softener and alcohol. Allow to dry completely before repainting. Total cost: approximately $1 to $2 per room. Compare that to the $40 can of chemical stripper or the $2,000 professional prep service. I need to be honest with you. This method works exceptionally well on latex and acrylic paints, which represent over 80% of interior wall paint applied in the last 50 years. It is significantly less effective on oil-based paints, alkyd enamels, and epoxy coatings, which use cross-linked polymer adhesion that resists solvent repenetration. If your home was built before 1978, any paint you disturb may contain lead. Federal EPA RRP regulations require specific containment and disposal procedures for lead paint removal regardless of the method used. Test with a lead paint test kit before beginning any paint removal project. This method can soften drywall paper facing if the solution is left on too long or if excessive moisture penetrates the surface. Work in manageable sections and remove the softened paint promptly. On textured walls like knockdown or orange peel, the texture itself may be removed along with the paint, and this works best on walls with moderate to heavy paint buildup. Very thin single coats of fresh paint may not respond as dramatically. For 100 years, preparing a room for repainting was the simplest part of the job. You wet the wall, you softened the old coating, you peeled it off. Professional painters carried bottles of surfactant solution in their trucks for exactly this purpose. Then the home improvement industry realized that paint prep could be its own profit center. They sold chemical strippers. They sold sanding equipment. They sold protective gear for the toxic fumes their strippers produced. They built an entire ecosystem of products and services around a problem that $2 of household ingredients solve in 5 minutes. There was not a more effective method. There was just a method that could fill an entire aisle at the hardware store. Subscribe and share. Every share preserves what they tried to erase. The next vault opens soon, and what is inside might explain why your squeaky floor has been keeping you up at night when $1 of powder would silence it forever.